Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the time now?
We have 4 minutes.
Yeah, so we'll wait for 4 minutes. Yeah. It's not on record. No? Don't start. Just wait. Okay, so good morning again, and of course we have the last class. So I'm going to sort of zip through a few topics. Majorly, we've come to last time you did, I think, leadership and team, right? Last class, Professor Sanjay, and we will be talking about the organization. So we'll just bring it all together. We started off with the individual. We then talked about groups and teams. And then we have sort of arrived eventually at the organization. And so to explain to you how all this comes together, I put together this one slide PPT, which has something called, you should all be familiar with this. So please note down the name. It's called the Nadler and the Tushman model. And this was sort of propagated in the 1980s. It's a very interesting model. And Nadler and Tushman, the two people who put together this, talk about a few things, which we should be talking about as the class progresses. So they talk about an organization fundamentally, and you're looking at inputs. So what are some of the inputs that they're talking about? They're talking about strategy, resources, and the environment. So strategy, resources, and the environment as inputs. And then what plays upon this strategy, resources, and environment? And you must have something to sort of strategize. And that is the organization culture, which we shall be talking about as we go forward. We'll also talk about work and work processes and so on and so forth. Organization structure. Why is it so important and how does it impact an organization? And of course, most importantly, people, which is what this whole course is about. So 4 main components are the culture, the structure, the people, and the work. And if you don't manage this well, what happens? What do you get? You get bad outputs, yes. What else do you get? Low productivity, yes. Your deliverables are not met. What else? Okay, changes in the workplace. So, right. What else? Organization may fail. Okay. Who said that? Very good. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So there could be a lot of disturbance or conflict. And that is also something that we'll be briefly talking about. What is conflict? Is all conflict bad? Or can some conflict be good? What kind of conflict is good and what is bad conflict? And eventually, we'll also be talking a little bit about what I think is the most important part of leadership. So when we say leaders fail, what do they fail at actually? You've gone through leadership a little bit. What do leaders fail at? What is the fundamental thing that most leaders actually find it struggle to manage? Managing people, yes. Why is it difficult to manage people?
Common understanding between those people, bringing all of them towards one goal.
True. So what are you trying to do actually? When you're trying to bring people towards one common goal, what are you trying to do? You're trying to build up something. Very good. Yes. What else are you trying to do? You're trying to bring about change. please understand that if many of you fail as leaders, you can actually pin it to the fact that you could not manage change. You did not have the wherewithal to manage people who resist change inherently. And that's a big problem because human beings do not like change. And why do they not like change?
It's always uncomfortable.
Do you like change? So suppose you all came today for the OT class and suddenly you had accountancy in the morning. No big deal, but would you have liked it? It causes some amount of discomfiture and annoyance. So most humans do not like change. So for example, I suddenly say that, no, your assignments are not 60%, but they're going to become 80%. And your semester end exam will be only 20 marks. Or I can do something else. I can say your assignments will be 10 marks, your semester end exams are going to be 90 marks. So you will resist it. I had actually not a difficult time, but I had a very irritating time when we were transitioning from post-COVID days, where many people had got so used to online exams and doing various things that they did, sitting at home and taking exams, that they found it difficult to accept the fact that they had to come and attend exams. So change is actually a little bit of a problem. So Nagler and Tushman put this together nicely. Many things that we're going to talk about today, and those are first culture, organization culture, and we'll spend a little time on it. Why is organization culture so important? Yeah, but why is it so important? Why is all of you know organization culture, right? Your organization must have a culture. You might have a culture yourself. What is culture basically? So national cultures come from the culture for people come from where? Come from our ancestors. Yeah, the shared experiences come down to us as a culture. For example, in India, one of the cultural aspects, I think we talked about this earlier also, is say respect your elders. It has come down from many hundreds of years in our civilization, and so on and so forth. So other cultures, they might say we respect work. Say if you go to America, age is not a criterion. They respect the quality of work and how well a young person can also have a lot of respect if he or she puts together good work. While it's not necessarily the fact that old people are respected because they are old. But organization cultures are different. Where do organization cultures come from? So for example, where does Infosys's culture come from? Who set the tone of the culture in Infosys?
The highest authority in the organization. The highest, it comes from the
It comes from the top, absolutely, yes.
Sir, Archana here.
Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah, organization culture is needed as the companies are now very global and they'll not be able to have, if the culture is not set from the organization, there'll not be any consistency and they cannot be have that guidance to have, because as you now told, India has a different culture and the same way UK and US, they follow different culture. So organization level, if we have a defined culture.
So you used an interesting word called guidance. Yeah, so yeah, that's right. So organization cultures give you, they're kind of a compass. They tell you what you might like to do, particularly in times of crisis. You were saying something.
The origin of the region, company, which region?
Which region? So if you look at Infosys, whose culture plays out there? And if you actually look at it carefully, it is Narayan Murthy who set the organization culture, and it sort of
slowed down.
It flowed down and it continued, and other people fell in line. And so you got this very middle class, if I look at it, very middle class Kannadiga values that Infosys carries because it came down from the founder and many of his co-founders and so on and so forth. So organization culture comes down right from the top, and then you can have, as we shall see, you can have subcultures within an organization. That is, this is the main culture that is there, but you can have groups of people settling in with subcultures. and slightly different kinds of cultures. Very interesting when multinational companies, some of you work in MNCs, and like the lady here online was saying, suppose there's an MNC which comes to India and sets up shop here. For example, Microsoft, IBM, Google, all of these are Bueller. All of these are MNCs in a true sense. They've come and set up shop in India. Do they have a national culture of their own? They do. Yeah. IBM comes with their own. Bueller comes with the Swiss culture, and so on and so. Google might come with an American, Californian culture. But then you're taking Indian people here. Yeah, you have a polycentric approach to staffing. Your CEO is Indian, maybe, which is very American. You can have a lot of Indians. So how do these two cultures play off against each other? You have a Swiss culture, you have an American culture, and you have an Indian culture. And how do these two sit together? And do you have conflict and so on and so forth? Is something that is very interesting. But by and large, organization cultures are important because of the fact that they sort of define, or they sort of set a compass for you, yeah, in particularly difficult times. 1 minute, I have to. Imtiaz, just come here, please. Yes. So, yeah. So we'll move on to the main part, that is culture. So I talked about culture, I talked about change, and then a little bit about structure and yeah. So we will just go to next. So this is something that you should check out, yeah, right? The Nadler-Tushman model. Culture. Right. So so what should you know by the end of this class, or by the time this course ends? Describe common characteristics of organization culture. Please understand, we're not talking about national culture here. We're talking about an organization culture. Yeah. Compare the functional and dysfunctional effects of organization culture on people and the organization. What are some of the dysfunctional effects? What are some of the nasty effects of culture on? What could they be? So we all know what are the functional aspects. For example, they can provide a compass and they can sort of give you direction. They can tell you the nice things and so on and so forth, right? What are some of the not so nice things that you can have with a dysfunctional culture?
Times it may become a possible set of person or group where is come from outside, that it becomes difficult.
Yeah, so you can have many dysfunctional effects. For example, you can get into a company which has substandard people, and so you can learn substandard practices. That is, you can actually drop your efficiency if you start surrounding yourself with people who are incompetent and inefficient. Or you can have a culture that promotes unethical practices, like say bribery, fudging of accounts, and so on and so forth. So some of the classic toxic cultures are companies like Enron and yeah, maybe Satyam computers and so on and so forth. So you can actually have toxic cultures in which, if you're not careful, you can get absorbed. So the other day I was doing somebody was interviewing me, becoming a little famous nowadays, because they said, we found your transition from being a captain to a professor interesting, and so we want to know a little bit about your life's journey. So I was talking to them, and they said, if last piece of advice, if you can give young people, what would that be? And in all seriousness, I was saying that surround yourself with good and ethical people. Otherwise, you can actually have serious issues. It might be fun to surround yourself, and not so boring and very exciting to surround yourself with people who are unethical and dangerous. But then eventually you will pay a price. And you can actually learn a lot of stuff from good stuff from people who are ethical and honest and who work hard. So that's the point. The point is organization cultures can also be dysfunctional and problematic. Identify the factors that create and sustain an organization's cultures. How do you sustain a culture? It's an important point, right? You have a culture. Narayan Murthy has set a culture for Infosys. Poor guy now has retired, and he's sort of doing whatever he does. How do you sustain it?
Continuous reinforcement.
Continuously reinforce it. Very good. Yes. So which organization in India you think really pays a lot of attention to reinforcing their culture and making sure that their culture is not sort of waylaid by people? Take Shell. Tata Group. Okay, very good. What else? Shell, is it? Okay. What else?
Recently, Hegde Hospital.
Hegde Hospital.
Yes.
I've not heard of this. Huh?
Yes, it's a new name. Even I actually got to hear about that recently. And I was thrilled the way how they actually treat the patients and the patient family members.
Okay.
And it's been that way from quite a few decades. So I kind of try to know more about things. So that's one.
It's a good culture.
Yes. It's
So that's fine. I mean, I'm not talking about good cultures. Many organizations have good cultures. What I'm talking about is how do they prevent that good culture from, or according to them, a good culture from sort of disappearing, changing, being hijacked, kidnapped, or whatever. Yeah. So how do they preserve and conserve that culture that they believe in is the question.
I think in our practice, other than reinforcing, also recruiting.
Absolutely. So that's the point. So, so for example, if you go for a selection to the Indian Army, if you go to the National Defense Academy as an officer, out of 32 people who come, less than 10% make it. What are they trying to check actually? Why do so many people not make it? The answer lies in the fact that they believe that these guys will not fit into their culture, or they will bring in a culture which is at odds with the prevailing. And that is why a lot of companies recruit very, very, particularly good companies. If you go to Google, one of the important aspects on which they hire is culture. Do you display that googliness? They call it googliness. And in the selection process, do you display that, the culture that they require for you to have to be a part of their organization, whatever it might be. So fundamentally, it is, do you show leadership traits? Are you intelligent enough? Can you manage a problem by yourself without running around here and there and asking somebody else, and so on and so forth. So you're right. So one way in which companies protect their incumbent culture is by very carefully recruiting, and then they run various tests and interviews and so on and so forth, and make sure that people, you might be the most intelligent person, but if you don't meet their cultural criterion or cultural quotient, what they require, they really don't want somebody like you to come and work in their organization. So you might like to say that it is the army's loss. True. If you're a genius and they don't select you, it is the army's loss. But then they like to conduct affairs in that particular fashion. So how culture is transmitted to employees? How does culture transmitted to employees is very important. How is it how do, like somebody said, reinforce culture? How do you reinforce culture? By transmitting it to the next set of leaders, people down the line, and so on and so forth. How does it happen?
Demonstration, lead by example, walk the talk.
Walk the talk. Very good. After you walk the talk, what?
Also expect the same behavior from other.
You expect the same behavior from other people, okay?
Also, there should be strict monitoring if someone is going out of the line. There should be strict measures.
And bring them back.
Bring them back or take strict measures that the other people learn from that.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
I think the role awareness of what we stand for. Because if they are aware, then it will be easy for them to identify and also practice that, inculcate that in their daily activities.
Okay. Okay.
Ownership mindset.
Okay, I'm asking you, the question is, how do people learn about? So for example, hmm?
By seeing.
By seeing. Yeah, by seeing is a little bit, suppose you have to rely on knowledge. There's this Hindi movie, I forget the name. Where this guy, he's a good actor. He says, I believe only things I see. So if I don't see it, I don't believe it. So if somebody comes and tells him a tiger eats people, he says, I don't believe it. Because I have not seen it yet. So how do you think life would be? Very difficult, right? So seeing is interesting, but it could have severe limitations. So how does culture? So for example, in the services that sort of I come from, if there is a senior officer walking, everybody has to stand and salute. There is no questions asked. It is an offense if you do not salute an officer who is senior to you. It is punishable, right? So there's this Bangalorean Admiral Pereira, who is now dead, and he was the chief of Indian Navy. So there's a very interesting episode from his life where he was one day apparently walking and he saw a young sailor. He was continuously saluting another young officer who was senior to him. So Pereira stopped his car and got down and asked, what is going on? So the officer said, sir, this young sailor, he saw me, he's arrogant, he did not salute. So he said, good, excellent. So what is the punishment for him? He said, I made him salute 1,000 times. And I will wait here and make sure he salutes 1,000 times. So Pereira said, excellent. But the rule is that you have to salute back 1,000 times. So that's the thing, that when somebody salutes, you have to salute back. And this story went across the Navy widely, that discipline is important, but don't trouble junior people unnecessarily. So culture, an organization culture is transmitted. So for example, there's this very famous narrative of how Azim Premji once landed up at the old Bangalore airport, and there was some sort of miscommunication, so his Mercedes-Benz did not arrive. And then he hopped into an auto and then went to the Wipro office and said everything is fine. And so what's going on here actually? So culture is transmitted through stories. And that is why storytelling is so important. Yeah. And all of you actually really, if you want to progress in your careers, must be good storytelling. I'm not talking about it in a condescending manner. I'm saying it's very important. You should be able to tell a good. First of all, you should be able to talk today. Say, for example, 300 years back, when everybody was 500 years back, when everybody was fighting with swords and spears. Suppose somebody turned up with a Kalashnikov, an AK-47. What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen to this guy who's got one AK-47 500 years ago? So today, the AK-47 is your ability to speak. Yeah, you want to progress, you want to manage something, you want to be an influencer, you want to control something, you should be able to articulate and speak. So develop this art of being good storytellers. But then for organization culture purposes, culture is transmitted through, there are various stories about, I told you a story from, I think, Nordstrom, one from the Marriott hotels, Azim Premji's personal story, and so on and so forth. And there are stories from Infosys and so on and so forth of people, of how their culture is transmitted downwards and how people learn the organization culture from what their leaders have done or not done. Of course, walking the talk and seeing is very important, and how people, yeah.
Where do you get these good stories? Just yours was asked.
You have to read very widely.
That's the
I mean,
question.
if you can direct us somewhere, of course, we all read to an extent.
No, I think honestly speaking, many of you have missed the bus. That's what I said, so the tragedy of today is that people want to be entertained to death. You want to be entertained every minute from you. The other, when I was going for this IPL game, I took the metro, me and my wife, and by some quirk of it, I forgot to take my mobile phone. And I was feeling very irritated, but I didn't want to go back home. So I found that I was the only guy looking around in the train. Everybody else was glued to their mobile. It is a problem actually, yeah, because it is getting in the way of you reading anything. In my time, we were bored a lot because there was not much to do. So we read. And you read very widely. I was fortunate that there were a lot of books at home across different subjects. So someday maybe I would read. I remember reading a book because I had nothing to do on pregnancy when I was 9 years old, which had no relevance to me at all. Or I would read how birds fly from Siberia to some other part of the world because there was nothing else to do. Yeah. So reading widely, I think, is very important. And I think a lot of people nowadays are, because of two reasons. One, you don't have any books at home. So children have no idea what to do. I mean, there's no connect at all. And two is, like you said, walk the talk. It's very important. If they see their parents reading, they will feel like reading. But if you like to watch your phone, they will also watch their phone. What do you say, madam?
How do you manage doing it now was my question. Because that time you had a lot of time and now.
So luckily also on ships, I had again a lot of, books and time to read. So it continued. My wife tried to put a stop to it for some time because she was very upset that I would read all the time and not talk to her. But then she eventually found that, okay, just leave this guy alone. I think once you make it a habit, I think it follows. But it's very important to read. It does a lot of good things. Anybody disagrees with me? You can feel free to disagree. But we are entering, boredom is a good thing actually. People should understand how to deal with boredom. And the problem nowadays is that a lot of people feel that they should be instantly entertained every second of the time, which is actually becoming a little bit of a problem. Okay, so we'll go back to organization culture. Describe the similarities and differences in creating an ethical culture, a positive culture, and a spiritual culture. What's a spiritual culture? Spiritual culture?
Something
It
related
is
to your
about the purpose of life, connecting to the organization and then bringing that higher level of.
Yeah. So, for example, questions like, why do we exist? And can that tie up to your vision statement? So your vision is actually telling you, why do you? I hope all of you have seen what is the vision of your organization. The vision is trying to tell you, why do you really exist? Why does your organization exist? And so the bigger question is, why do you exist within that organization? Or do you actually have a meaning? And does your organization, so another very important thing that organization culture is supposed to do is to bring about a sense of purpose. Yeah. So what is the sense of purpose? Sense of purpose?
know why you are here and what you are doing.
I mean, ask yourself that question sometimes. Yeah. When on a Sunday morning, when you don't have much to do, and there's no TV going on or IPL or whatever else is happening, ask yourself, why are you there actually? Suppose you disappear. What is it going to affect anybody? So it's an interesting question and exercise. Yeah. So you can actually look at why organizations really exist and what are they really doing and why do you exist within an organization? Why does your team exist within an organization? And so on and so forth. So these are the spiritual part of an organization culture. and show how national cultures can affect the way organizational culture is transported to one. So national culture, you can actually have problems when, say, the Swiss come and set up a company in India, or India goes and sets up Indians go and set up a company in. I wrote a case study actually. I think I mentioned it to you a few years back, which actually did very well. This was about an Indian IT company setting shop in Australia. And the problem occurs because when they bag their first big order, the Australian vice president orders a truckload of beer, which is very, very common in Australia. Yeah. But is it common in Indian companies? Suppose Infosys bags an order, do they order beer? And everybody has a good drink on a Wednesday afternoon. No, right? Only 3 of you said that you drink any beer. So that's the problem. Yeah. So, so these are cultural issues where you have, so in America, so tomorrow, if somebody comes and tells you that, look, from tomorrow, don't come to work. Is it a problem? Why is it a problem?
Is a routine, has become a routine. Or is that go to work?
Yeah, so in America, it's not a big deal. Because they believe, in their culture, they believe that if I have work, I will call you. If you're interested in coming and working with me, please come. And I will pay you a fair wage. In India, people believe it is an employer's responsibility to keep them and keep paying them despite the fact whether they have work or not. So if a company doesn't have work for you, why should they keep you? Because you are comfortable going every day morning.
They get an order tomorrow, then again
They will hire again. So at that point of time, they will again call you. If you're interested, you go and work. So the whole culture part of it becomes sometimes a bit of a. So if you go and join an American company, please be careful because they have different ways of looking at many cultural aspects. For them, lifelong employment is not something which is very important, unlike what it is for Indians. Yeah, so you can have cultural issues. So when national cultures actually collide with each other, or for example, several years back, I was in Mangaluru, and I'd gone there, and somebody, not much of money. This was before I started working, and somebody said that, why don't you go and stay with the YMCA? And I had a vague idea about the YMCA. I played some cricket matches with YMCA guys, but I didn't know much about them. So I went, asked them for a room. They said, okay, some 10 rupees a day or something like that. They gave me a room, and I joined. When I went for dinner, I asked somebody, where is the vegetarian stuff? So they looked at me strangely and they said, vegetarian? I said, yes. So they sent me to one corner. There was egg curry there. He said, no, I want vegetarian. So they said, this is the closest you're going to get to vegetarian. Then I realized that this was a different ecosystem and culture altogether. So I went and ate my food at Srinivasa food stall or something like that, and went home and slept. So the point is that sometimes you can actually get drawn into cultures that you don't understand fully, and this can become a little bit of a issue as far as adjustment is concerned. Yeah. So organization culture refers to a system of shared meaning held by members that distinguish the organization from other organizations. It's a very important definition. So what is it? It distinguishes you from other. It distinguishes your organization from other organization. And that's a problem as well, because when you change from one organization to another organization, you might actually have to change or make adjustments in how you sort of, view your new culture. And that can become a little bit of a problem. So primary characteristics that capture the essence of an organization culture. So what are some of the primary aspects? What defines organization culture? For example, adaptability. How quickly can your organization adapt? So change strategies, make new plans, come with new goals and so on and so forth. The adaptability part of it. Are you like, so tell me an organization which adapts very quickly. Do you think the Indian Army adapts very quickly? No. Yeah, it's a huge monolith with a rigid structure. Can you tell me an organization which, so many startups maybe, yeah, they're flexible, they're agile, they're small, and they can very quickly adapt. Large organizations have a, if you have to bring about change in large organizations, you're going to have a bit of a problem. Yeah. So, say for example, the Dayanand Sagar University. Do you think it will change very easily? No. So it won't change. Yeah. So why? Because you have got also people who have come in from a past system. Yeah, and they don't want to change very easily. So that's about it. Detail. What is detail orientation? Absolutely. So the other day somebody gave me a poster. They're promoting admissions. I could, just looking at it, I found 5 mistakes. Yeah, and well, I was very upset because this is going out into the market. And I don't know whether I told you this story, but in the early days when Japanese used to come to India, and they were very reluctant to have tie-ups with anybody. But if they wanted to have a tie-up, one of the things they checked was the washroom. And if they found the washroom dirty, they were reluctant to have any association, because they said that if you can't take care of your washroom, then what will you take care of? And that is something which also came with, say, when I was doing my professional exams to become captain, the examiner would also examine the back of your shoes. Just think about it. Nowadays, people don't wear shoes at all. Huh? But they would examine the back of your shoes, because according to them, if you did not polish the back of your shoes, then you were irresponsible or you had no attention to detail. So these are quirks, things, but organizations can also function like this: attention to detail or detail orientation, result outcome oriented. So are you sort of working so much, but you're not concerned about the outcome? I mean, I'm working very hard, but the outcome is zilch. I don't know how many of you have, when you were young kids, whether your parents gave you that rocking horse. You know rocking horse? Yes. You sit on it and go up and down. Yeah, just think about it. All the day you can keep rocking it, the goes. And so you all look very, the kid looks very busy. Yeah, but has the kid progressed anywhere? So like that. So you can actually be doing a lot of work with no outcome. So organizations are also pretty smart. They look for definitive outcomes. If you're in the sales area, can you sell 50 soap by the end of the day? Yeah. Or can you make 100 calls? Or can you get new customers? Or can I get new students or new programs or whatever it might be? So people, customer orientation. And so today customer orientation is very important. How do organizations actually manage their? So just last week, and I was very sad. This is the organization called Bed Bath and Beyond. I don't know if anybody has been there. Yeah, it's basically a US-based niche store which sells a lot of stuff meant for homes. And then, one of my pastimes in the US is to go to some of these shops. Very nice, upmarket. You can spend the whole day there. It filed for bankruptcy, and I was reading that case study as to why. It looked to me like a spectacular shop. It was doing well. It had a problem 2 years back, and somebody infused money. They gave them more money, so they survived for 2 more years. They say that one of the reasons why Bed Bath and Beyond, actually after about 30, 40 years, filed for bankruptcy is because of their lack of customer orientation. So, does your organization actually, is it concerned with people and customers? If they're not, you can have a bit of a problem. What do you think? Is it important to sort of be attached to people and your people and customers, or no?
Otherwise, you don't survive.
Yeah, difficult to survive over a is sustainability is a problem. Can you sustain your operations over a length of time? Could be a little bit of a problem. Collaboration, team orientation, all of you know about it. What is collaboration and what is team orientation? So today you can rarely get anything done without sort of collaboration. And very few organizations would say that you are an individual player only and you don't have to sort of collaborate with anybody, because if you can't collaborate, you have a little bit of a problem. And of course, finally, the integrity. So can you have a dishonest organization? You can fool people for some time, but you can't fool people all the time, and you will actually have a problem as you sort of go forward. So these are what distinguishes organizations from each other. That is adaptability, detail, and then they have different ramifications. So for example, the Indian Army is not adaptable because of its structure. It's got a huge monolithic mechanistic structure, top down, very steep. So for the 1.3 million Indian soldiers who take part in the Indian Army, you have one general who heads it. Just think about it, yeah. And but you have flatter organizations. For example, many of your organizations are flat. So where you can actually be heading. So as people tell me that, I was working with IBM and I have 1,000 people reporting to me. That is because your organization is flat. It's not because of your competence. Yeah, that is how your organization. So are these organizations more adaptable? They are. They can move faster. What do they lose but? So when organizations are flat, what do they lose? So we'll talk about it when we come to the structure part of it. Yeah, just take about 5-10 minutes. Right. So what are some broad cultures? So you can have the clan, the adhocracy, the market, and the hierarchy. And these are broad jargons that you can apply to sort of organizations. What do they mean? So the clan is like, say, an extended family. Mentor. So the founders or the guys who own the company, they mentor, they nurture, and they call for participation. So that's the clan. It's like, say, a mafia organization. Just think of Don, yeah, of some movie called The Godfather. Yeah, where he's sitting on the top and it's an organization. So it's like a father figure. What do they expect in return for that mentoring, nurturing, participation? What do they expect? Respect. Loyalty. Yeah, respect and loyalty. You should be 100% loyal. So if you look at it from you can actually have a look at this slide. The other one is the adhocracy. That is dynamic, entrepreneurial, risk-taking, and values innovation. Many startups are adhocracies. Yeah. So they are dynamic, they are entrepreneurial, they are risk-taking, and they value. So entrepreneurship is something that is kind of a misuse. What do you understand by entrepreneur? What is your understanding of the word entrepreneurship? Yeah. So yeah. So somebody was saying something.
Yeah,
When you start a business. So not in today's understanding, not necessarily so. So for example, when I joined Dayanand Sagar University in 2018, early 2018, my role was to set up executive education here. Yeah. So am I an entrepreneur in a sense? Yes. So the answer is that yes. So today you're expected to be an entrepreneur within your own organization, or what is called as an intrapreneur. If you're not an entrepreneur and if you can't innovate and value add and come up, champion new causes or new business practices, you are going to have a short-lived time. The people who really make it to the top in organizations are the entrepreneurs internally or externally, because they add value and they bring new business. Simply saying that I will take care of some operation and come to office every day and warm the chair or pass paper from this table to that table is not good enough anymore. So advocacies are important. Market culture is result oriented, gets the job done, values competition and values achievement. And finally, the hierarchy is structure, control, coordination, efficiency, and very important word. So straight away, the armed forces will be a hierarchical organization. Market organization will be many of your companies. Advocacies will be many startups and small companies. Clans are basically family owned. So I don't know, somebody was here who was working with TVS Motors. Not come today. Yeah. So I would like to ask him whether TVS Motors has transitioned, say, from being a clan to a or an advocacy. Or because I believe many family-owned businesses feel that they have transitioned, but they actually have not till the founders. For example, can you name a company which the founders set it up and then said, look, we're done with this, let's hand over to a professional group.
Sir,
Kotak is there, no? Uday Kotak.
is there, but still it is managed by the L&T.
L&T. Very good example is Asian Paints. Asian Paints, right? I think in the 80s itself handed it over to a professional set of people and said that you run it professionally. It's a family-owned business, but we are stepping out in the. So they moved very quickly from being a clan to a market. Yeah, and it's not surprisingly they did extremely. So it's a choice that the founders and the family folk who own this organization will have to.
Is it necessary for them to clan to market? Change from clan.
It's not necessary. So like I was telling him, nothing is necessary. But maybe if you want to survive, it's a good idea.
Because there also you see the nurturing.
Yeah. So the point is that also that how do you actually beyond a point, I think your ability to understand market forces and so on and so forth is going to diminish. You will need new ideas, new innovation, new thought processes. How do you get those? Unless you hand over controls or you allow other people to ideate. By the way, the other day I was listening to an interview by Warren Buffett, one of the richest people in the world, and he was saying this diversity and inclusion is all nonsense.
Yes, diversity and inclusion can be positive and negative. It has both advantage and disadvantage.
There is no empirical evidence. So it's a feel good thing that you want to include everybody and everything into your system. You want to have transgenders. You want to have
Women in politics.
women is fine. I mean, I have no quarrel with women, but I think they should be there. They bring a lot of stuff to the table. They bring a lot of stability to the table. They bring common sense to the table, actually. So whenever I'm flying very high, my wife actually brings me down. So I find it interesting how they operate. The other day, we were sitting and she was reading and she asked me, what is this binary person? And I wanted to actually tempted to give say whatever I felt like, but I resisted. I said, I don't know. Let me check. And then I found that a binary person is a person who some days thinks he's female, some days thinks he's male. And it is amazing. Do you have any confusion like that?
Just last week there was some in India. Actually, there was one. Starbucks had
Starbucks had.
Recently.
So that is a gender change. That's a gender change. But binary people are people who can flip on a daily basis or minute by minute basis. Now they say that now I am male and now I am female, and now in America, that is okay. You would think whatever you want to think. But in America, they say this should be treated as a diversity quota. And you should have these people in the workplace. Where is it going to end? So are you looking for efficiency and to generate profits and so on and so forth? So Warren Buffett, he was saying that I don't believe in all this and I am not going to have any diversity in I am interested in people, smart people who can come and work to me and generate paisa for my shareholders. So there is a lot of pushback on this whole diversity. And so maybe if you come back to organization theory after 10 years, you might actually not have a chapter on diversity and inclusion, which is very sad.
So diversity has got levels also. When we talk about gender and race, okay, this opinion is and within a team, when we go for characteristics, psychological interpretation and bringing a challenger, an advocate, and then an analytic person, that is also diversity.
So today, So today, what are people saying? That it is not important to have one Pakistani, one Indian, one Belgian, one Dutch guy, one German in a team. What is important is to have cognitive differences where people think differently. You can have all Indians who think differently. You can have different kinds of people who don't think at all, which is a self-defeating purpose. So you have different nationalities in the name of diversity, but they have no ability to think. So you actually, shot yourself in the foot. The point is about cognitive diversity.
Maybe I feel going forward, this will come up and you will have chapter around this.
So that's how it is. So it's a very interesting debate, and this is what I expect you guys to think about. Think about some of these things. How does it really say it? Whether it's really important to have diversity or not, because it's an important part of organization behavior, organization culture, and so you can, if you go to, if you join Berkshire Hathaway, that is Warren Buffett's company, you might not have diversity at all. Yeah. But if you go and join a company like Starbucks, right? Starbucks, who actually did this. Starbucks is a little careful. Starbucks is a little careful because when was that? I think 2019. 2019, I had gone to the US and I wanted to visit the washroom urgently. So I went into a Starbucks and I said, I want to use the washroom. So they were very welcoming. And they said, please, this is the way. And it was a beautiful bathroom. And I was a little surprised actually why they were so friendly. What had happened is the week before, there were two African Americans who had come there and they were sitting, they were waiting for somebody and they wanted to use the washroom. So the guy who was a white guy at the cash counter not only prevented them from using the washroom, but called the police. And the police came and handcuffed these people and so on and so forth. It became a huge issue. So Starbucks had to pay a lot of money to these two guys to sort of go away, first of all. And they shut down for a day to retrain their entire staff worldwide on diversity and inclusion. So since then, I think Starbucks has become a little careful in trying to go that extra mile to say that we are an inclusive organization and inclusive culture.
So what, according to you, you feel diversity and inclusion, is it important or not?
I think cognitive diversity. I don't think that people, because they look people. So you don't have to have one dark complexion guy, one fair complexion guy, one fellow who's got no hair, one fellow who's got brown hair, and then say it is diversity. It doesn't make sense. Or one person speaks Kannada, another person speaks Malayalam, and so on and so forth. If they're all thinking in the same way, it doesn't make sense. You need to have people who come from different perspectives, who can think differently, who can innovate and come with different solutions. That kind of diversity, not surface level diversity because they look different. And this is utter great. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, sometimes they can carry it so far ahead in terms of diversity and inclusion that you don't know what kind of people you're having in your organization. So culture is a descriptive term. So what does culture do for your organization? Organization culture is concerned with employees' perception of the characteristics of the culture, not whether they like them. Does it encourage teamwork? Does your culture encourage? How does your culture encourage teamwork? So how am I encouraging teamwork? Can you give me an example?
By making groups for assignment.
So I'm encouraging because I want you to learn how to collaborate with when there is no leader. It is easy to collaborate when you have a boss. Yeah, because the boss otherwise will sort of wield the stick. But if you have to collaborate when there is no obvious, and I see that there are some teams that do a brilliant job. They leave their ego at home, they put their differences out of the window, and they come and do a great job. Some people are so egoistic that they can't agree with each other. And so does your culture promote teamwork? Does it reward innovation? Yeah, or does it reward just doing the normal job over and over again? Yeah. So does your organization reward innovation?
Yes.
Yeah. Does it stifle initiative? So when you come with a new initiative, does somebody say it's a stupid idea, just go away? So for example, I think I told you the story in the 1980s when some young guy wanted to bring in the digital camera with Kodak. Kodak had 80% market share at that point in time in cameras and camera film. And some guy came and said, let's start the digital camera because it's the next big thing. And they said it's a BS idea. It's not important. And they filed for bankruptcy in 2010. From an 80% market share, they filed for. Why? Because somebody with initiative was shut down. So how do you deal with this? Suppose you have an organization. And you want stability, it's doing well, but you don't want to kill ideas. What do? Suppose you're the boss, you're the CEO. How do you deal with this?
Somebody comes.
So you understand the question, right? You're an organization like Kodak, 1980s, 80% market share, doing brilliantly well, great company, all over the world they were known. One mistake they did was not to accept change or initiative. And they folded up in about 25 years. Yeah, and they're gone. No, Kodak doesn't exist anymore. How do you prevent that?
Make a policy regarding this. Like in our organization, we reserve 5% of our budget on innovations. Conduct innovation challenge every year. Listen to all ideas by government.
Which organization?
Okay. So we do that, and then participation, and also it is seen that irrespective of quality of idea, whether he is coming under the culture of innovation. So promote that innovation culture.
So the crazier the idea, the better it is.
But it is listened and then it is polished also. Like we call piggybacking. We give a craziest idea. Like one of the craziest idea it came that we start teaching by using games. Now our trainings are taking forms of video games because people like that. We felt it is a crazy idea first, but it is one of the selected idea now.
But is it working?
They've started working on that.
So we'll come to know at the end of the year.
Yeah. So like that, provide resource, listen to all ideas, and then encourage that culture.
So that is one way of doing it. But other way of doing it is by changing the organization structure. So many organizations have what is called ambidextrous structure. So the main organization exists. They create a smaller organization, and then the main organization actually gives a lot of support to this smaller ambidextrous, the smaller organization, where they can ideate, innovate, do all sorts of things. You're de-risking actually, right? And you are not allowing the big guns in the main organization to kill ideas of people who might come with very different thought processes. So actually ambidextrous organizations are gaining in popularity. So you give them funds, you give them support, you don't interfere in their work. And when the idea is developed and it comes up, then they sort of take it into the main organization and grow it. So that's a very, very popular method of innovating models. Yeah, by making structural changes.
Process has a couple of such units, like one is called AI and automation, and Center of Excellence, and we operate as a startup within the.
This automation, like innovation campus, for that. Morning I was hearing that ad.
Yeah, the innovation.
Same
It
thing,
doesn't mean anything.
yeah, like when I never heard, about that. They are promoting like, no, it's for executive separate, it is structured. And when I hear that it is innovation campus, different. So it is taken out and nurturing this much, and then they do that. Like what you explained now.
You think something?
No, that's what I say, like,
Was one crazy idea. My organization, there was one crazy idea which was submitted by one of the agent. So the idea was, the person came to us and told that, I see there are a lot of dustbin in the floor.
Mm.
We don't need so many dustbin. Like for example, in this particular row, there are 2 dustbin.
Mm.
I'm just giving an example. Similarly, we have 10 rows, so 10 into 2, which is 20 dustbin. We don't need 20 dustbin, we just need 2 dustbin. So the idea was approved and it was reduction of cost. The dustbin cost was reduced, the manpower was reduced, and raw material cost was reduced, and that turned out to be a brilliant idea, which was a cost reduction idea, and that particular region was awarded as well.
So you have to be a little careful, because today the paradigm has shifted. Yeah. So today organizations are just think about it. Which are the biggest organizations in the world?
Google,
Alphabet, Google. Yeah.
Accenture.
The biggest organization in the world is Apple. Yeah. Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Tesla. Yeah. Out of which Tesla is the only one which holds physical resources. Yeah. Otherwise, all of them are in the digital space. Say 30 years back, which was the biggest organization in the world?
Oil companies.
Exxon Mobil. Yeah. Toyota, Nucor, the American aluminum manufacturer. So these were the biggest organizations in the world. So today, if you take, say, Apple, how much bigger is Apple than Exxon Mobil? What do you think is the differential delta?
Multi-folds.
It's about 12-15x. So in the space of 30 years, you have seen a company come out of nowhere and lead the world, while the companies that were leading the world about, say, even 20 years back, today are 15x less. I'm not talking 15 times less big than the big companies of today. What do you think has changed?
Innovation.
What do you think is that one mindset change that has occurred in the last 25 years? So today, the cost reduction business is gone. Not too many people are interested in cost reduction. They are interested in revenue. That is the big elephant in the room. Can I add to an organization's revenue, not through cost reduction, but through innovation and creativity? Can I get in new businesses? Can I get in new ways of making money? Can I bring in new paradigms? Can I start a new vertical? So the whole business of I'm going to generate money for you by reducing cost is good, but then it's a bit Mickey Mouse-ish. What do you think? No,
Both has to go currently.
I'm saying that I think people should be rewarded for starting new, making new verticals, getting in more revenues and growing them. Yeah. And physical people who own physical assets, say like Exxon Mobil and so on, they're only depreciating. You think Google and all that are depreciating anything? No, they're growing exponentially. Yeah. So good. Okay. It's a thought for you guys. Does it stifle initiative? It differs from job satisfaction. Job satisfaction is evaluative. Organization culture is descriptive. Yeah. So organization culture is a little difficult because many people find it difficult to describe. What is the culture of my? So, for example, somebody asks you, what is the culture? What's the culture of Bureau? It's difficult to explain it to what exactly do you sort of stand for culturally. So, what does India stand for culturally? Exactly.
Unity.
It happened by chance.
paper.
Hmm? So that's the problem. Yeah. Suppose somebody asks you, explain exactly what your organization's culture is and why. Think about it. And I think you should be able to put your mind to it now and come out with a set of differentiators and parameters. Yeah. Do organizations have uniform cultures? Answer is no. They don't have a uniform culture. They have a dominant culture. Yeah. And they have a subculture. So you can have a dominant culture where majority of your people believe in something. So does India have a uniform culture? Definitely no. Yeah. You can see that recently in Manipur, we said so people slaughtered each other. Why? There are different points of view. Yeah. And so we have a dominant culture and we have subcultures, and organizations also are like that. Why do you have subcultures? Because you recruit different kinds of people in the name of diversity and so on and so forth. And you are actually giving room. So does the Indian Army have subcultures?
Yeah, it is. There are some groups like Punjabis have Punjabis regiment separately. Madras has-
Punjab regiment. Madras regiment is not the Madras engineering group. So like the Bengal engineering group. Yeah. So all these groups were disbanded. There was a Bengal regiment, but after 1857 it was disbanded because 1857 the first war of Indian independence, the Mangal Pandey and company, that was the Bengal regiment. So the British disbanded it. They said no more regiment for Bengalis. Anyway, that's a bit of history. What are they talking about? Subgroups. So I wanted to say something. Yeah, you're right in a sense. So you can have regimentized subcultures within a large unit with a dominant culture. But generally, the organizations like the armed forces and so on and so forth will not allow too much of deviation. What do? How do they enforce it?
They might break the moment
How-
they get this idea that there's something is happening like this, they'll break it.
They'll break it in. What about your organizations? Do they allow? Do they promote subcultures?
They don't promote, but they happen on their own.
How do they deal with them?
Establish code of conduct.
Okay, they establish code of conduct. Okay.
Close monitoring and warning, see if something is going on in that direction.
Okay. What else? No, I'm trying to figure out here while I'm teaching you, I'm trying to figure out whether subcultures are good or not good.
That again
And I
depends.
want to know what is your thought. I don't have a definitive answer myself.
If it is not affecting organization in any bad manner, subcultures are.
So how do we know whether it affects or not in a bad way?
Like the culture.
You'll only come to know later.
Let's say some particular group gets together on a coffee shop or something and they start talking nonsense. Or they start spreading rumors. That's again, you can call it subculture. Let's say all Kannadigas together and they start talking hereafter, we should hire only Kannadigas. Somehow, I belong to some department, you belong to some, we both talk in such a way that whenever interviewer comes, other guy, the candidate comes, you hire only the Kannadigas.
It could be a good thing.
It may not be also. So.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Ah,
So that way, if it is affecting and if the management gets to know that, they should really criticize or break this culture.
true. So what do you guys think? All of you have been very silent. Should organizations promote subcultures to thrive, like he said, and come up with their own ideas, or you have one culture and that's a dominant culture and let's go with it?
should be one culture, and we should have an option to give feedback. We don't at the end, based on the collective feedback, maybe we can incorporate something better to the existing culture. It cannot be subculture.
Yeah, managing it is a little bit of a problem. In what direction it goes. So this is a very interesting story from I think the 1960s about the Indian Navy. And of course, if you ask government sources, they will always deny it. But there's a story which goes around of there was this large ship called INS Mysore, which was named after Mysore, and it was what is called the destroyer. So it was positioned at Bombay harbor, and they were going out for an exercise into the Arabian Sea. And 60s was a time where you had this communist movement, which was sort of gathering steam in India. And apparently about 20 sailors from a particular region, they got together and they started complaining about food on the ship. And they said that the food is not good. So there's a process, there's an escalation process. So, but these guys took it a step further and they said that we will go on a hunger. Just imagine on a naval warship, you're going on a hunger strike. So there, the executive officer, that is one step below, he came and tried to talk to them and so on and so forth. Nothing much happened. Apparently, they were banging their plate and so on. So a big ruckus was created. The captain he wired a message to the naval headquarters, that is Bombay, who said, come back immediately. So the ship did a 180-degree turnaround. It carried about 1,000 people, very large number of crew. So they came, 1,000 people were lined up. They replaced this 1,000 people on the INS Mysore. All these people were taken off. The new people came, the ship sailed out. They identified apparently the 20 people, and these 20 people were sent on leave. They were sent on leave, and the matter was closed. So do you think it's a big deal?
That 20 people has influenced thousands, like 100,000 people.
Yeah, but the twist in the tail is those 20 people disappeared. So those 20 people, their families later on said that, where are they? Because there's no contact. They said, Navy said they want to leave. We sent them home. And they're probably still searching for them after 50 years. So some organizations deal with it because you can't allow subcultures to develop, which sort of are detrimental to your main culture, that is, say, discipline, following orders, and doing what the authority says that you should do, and so on. So it's an interesting thought process, whether subcultures are good or not good. The armed forces definitely do not tolerate too much of subculture formation. Yeah, good. Interesting story, right? How the armed forces dealt with the subculture. So again, strong versus weak cultures, strong cultures. So should you have a strong culture or a weak culture? Why?
Equal break.
So strong culture can sort of give you a compass, and it can tell you what to do or what you should not be doing, and so on and so forth. Weak cultures, like you say, are kind of not
On books and not practiced.
yeah, I mean, they're just there. They don't make too much of sense, and so on and so forth. What is the problem with a strong culture? It can become very rigid. Yeah, and it loses any amount of adaptability or flexibility. The culture is very strong, and they say that so different thought processes or initiative or innovativeness can actually get killed because of a very strong organization culture. So that's the negative part of having a very strong culture. So what do cultures do? They boundary define. They define the boundaries of an organization, what you can do and what you cannot do in a organization. So for example, can you go in shorts to your organization? So that I don't think anybody has explicitly told you, but the culture doesn't allow. So some years back, my son was going for internship at Siemens here. And he was down from his college. So we went actually to Shoppers Stop and I got him some formal clothes and full sleeve shirt and this, that, and that. And he came back in the evening looking very furious because everybody was in shorts apparently. and he said that I'm going to go in shorts from the. So that's the culture of that Siemens Innovative Center or whatever. So it becomes boundary defining, conveys a sense of identity for identity. Do you have an identity? Do you feel proud that you belong to an organization or you don't care?
Identify as the company.
Depends upon.
Depends on the pay.
Depends upon the pay.
So if you look at some organizations where people say Larsen and Toubro, people are, I know old L&T guys, they're very proud to have been part of that organization. Or say again the armed forces, of course, always people are very proud to have been part of it. Or for example, are you proud to have been part of Bueller?
Yes.
I don't. So are you very proud to have been part of Infosys or IBM? You know, does your organization give you a sense of, and that's what you get. Are you proud to be a member of Google? Say? If you ask many, because it's difficult to get into these organizations, yeah, and so on and so forth. Yeah? So conveys a sense of identity for members. Facilitates a generation of commitment. So once you have a sense of identity and you believe in something, there is a sense of commitment. So this is the culture I believe in, this is the organization I believe in, so I will work very hard for this particular organization. Enhances the stability of the social system and serves as a sense making. And what does this mean? Enhances the stability of the social system. So if you believe in a system and you believe in a culture, then you will not do peculiar things to disturb the hierarchy or the order, like our friends on this INS Mysore tried to do. Yeah, they were disturbing the social fabric or the structure of that system. So you will not try to do peculiar things like that. And serves as sense making and control. Control mechanism is very important because culture, remember, is a very, very strong culture mechanism. It allows you to do certain things and does not allow you to. So, for example, does any of your organization allow you to take a prostitute to the, to the campus? Answer is no, right? Yeah, but say a company like Enron encouraged it. So that is their culture, and you know what happened to Enron eventually. So control mechanisms are in place. Culture is the largest control mechanism that organizations have got. And if you can't operate within that control mechanism, then you will find yourself exiting. Right? So can you go and suddenly say that, okay, it's Friday afternoon, I'm going to have a beer in my office? You can't do it. Why? Because the organization culture allows it or does not. Yeah.
Indian Factory Act does it. No alcohol.
Indian Factories Act applies to
Manufacturing.
workers. Yeah, it does not necessarily talk about management. So, for example, if I look back at, I grew up with, my father used to work with, say, Hindustan Shipyard Limited, which they built ships. So, as the head of the ship repair unit, where a lot of international ships used to come, so he used to have liquor in his office. Yeah, why? Because it is allowed, because if some foreigner comes and he wants to have a beer or whatever, then that is allowed. It has got nothing to do with the Factories Act, which applies basically to workers, not necessarily to the management.
You can see the
What?
Ola.
Hmm.
Ola, if we visit their head office, Koramantla, and see two things. One is dressing sense, means there is no formal something. Whatever they want to come, they can come. So surprisingly, we had a last week meeting.
You work with Ola.
No, I won't work. I work for HDFC Group.
You had gone there.
We had been there. So we just saw the email was coming out. She was in 2 weeks. My boss was seeing, thought maybe she may be a visitor. Then after the meeting, it was a lunch break. We saw a lot of people were coming the same. Then we inquired with the one guy, Vijay Narasimha. He was heading complete planning their operations for fire. So this is a culture at Ola. Then also he told, today is a Friday and evening we all booze. And he told, this is a culture at Ola. Surprisingly, being means inside means we never means we normally visit for OEMs, but the first time we had this type of experience.
So what do you think of? So would you want to work in an organization like Leave your boss alone.
I won't go.
So that's the problem. So straight away you have a problem because that boundary spanning is becoming a problem.
Yes.
So you are now thinking, should I really work in an organization like that? Some people might want to work in an organization.
Yeah, means my regional head itself he told, I think we should join this organization. Please check the result.
So you can actually, so for example, there's this guy called Harvey Milk. I don't know whether you heard of Harvey Milk. So Harvey Milk is a very famous guy. He was in America in the 1970s and he was a homosexual. And America in the 1970s is very different from today. So in 70s, nobody talked about diversity. So Milk was the head of the Homosexual Association for America. I think he was based out of Philadelphia or Chicago or something. It was a problem because these guys were not getting jobs. Right? If somebody found out that there was a gay person, they would not give them a job. So Milk said, I have to do something about it. And he then went to a struggling beer manufacturer. And who was not able to sell his beer. I forget the beer's name. And he said, let's do a deal. If you give my guys jobs, I will make sure every gay person in America drinks only your beer. And it worked brilliantly. And a lot of companies found that you can actually position yourself onto small groups and attract them in building a customer base. So also one of the reasons why companies have diversity quotients and so on and so forth, because they want minority groups to feel comfortable. So this might also be a ploy to attract these kind of people who would want to dress like that to Ola. So incidentally, I did not, even if had you told me this last class, when I was voting, I met the head of HR of Ola, who was standing next to me in line.
Okay.
I might have asked him.
We can visit in the campus is open. And entry is not allowed inside the Ola corporate office, but exit we can see.
Fair enough. I really don't have. I will take your word for it. Okay. So culture also creates organization climate. Organization climate is shared perception about the organization and work environment, team spirit, and so on. So I think you all have got enough about culture, I think, and you understand what I'm talking about. Please go and critically examine your own culture and your own thought processes, whether you find a sense of purpose, whether the vision of your organization matches the culture of your organization. So vision can be seen saying that we are a highly innovative and innovation driven company, but work practice says that don't bring innovation and innovativeness. So you can have odds. So there's a confusion between sense of purpose, what they say in vision, and what people actually do. So you can think about it and then maybe give suggestions to your bosses if they're open to suggestions. And are they open to suggestions, bosses? Not really, and not always. Yeah, so bosses are like that. What ideas you think are brilliant, they don't really appreciate.
I
Sometimes.
would say you failed to convince him that your idea is really good.
What is that?
My idea is brilliant. I feel so. You're my boss. You say no. That means even there is other perspective that I failed to convince you.
I think comparison is there too. Ending.
No, no, that's
Okay.
Yeah, but I have seen that really great organizations have room for debate and sort of
Exchanging the ideas.
exchange of ideas, and bosses invariably allow the junior guy to go with their idea and say that, okay, I don't agree with you fully, and I suggest caution, but if go ahead, something goes wrong, I will back you. But I suggest caution, because I am not fully convinced. And I think that's a good way to do it, actually. Yeah. Okay, shall we take a break? So guys online, you've been very silent. Can we take a quick break, please?
Yes, sir.
I hope you're there. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Recording. Yeah, hello. Hi. So we're back. Guys online, we're back.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about organizational change, which is the next our next area of interest. We've covered a little bit about culture. So I've deliberately put it as leadership and organizational change, simply because I believe that they both go hand in hand. You need to have strong leadership to bring about change. And if sort of you don't have, like I said, a lot of leadership initiatives fail because they are not able to manage change. And there's an interesting quote by W. Edward Deming, and he says that it's not necessary to change, and even survival is not mandated. Yeah, but if you want to survive, you better change. So survival is endemic to human beings, and if you don't change, you actually may not survive. So okay. So why do people want to sort of lead? So just going back quickly to a little bit of leadership, and why do people want to lead? So you can actually be a classic entrepreneur, or you've got that zest in you to be an entrepreneur, create something new. And some people are creative, some people want to do the operational stuff and so on and so forth. So you can be a classic entrepreneur, or you want to solve problems, or you could be a problem solver. Yeah. You can also be a solution finder. You can find solutions to existing problems, or you can be a modern missionary. That is, you want to change the world, and you want to come up with new initiatives and new ways of looking at it and so on. Or you can be all four as well. You can be a classic entrepreneur, you can be a problem solver, you can be a solution finder, or you can be a modern missionary. And this is the reason why people want to have leadership positions.
Second and third remote look same, right?
Even I was about to.
You can actually solve problems and you can be a problem solver without arriving at the solution that you are looking for.
Some alternate solution might also come up.
Something else might turn up. So like they say, the road to hell is always paved with good intentions. The road to hell is always paved with good intentions. So all people set off with good intentions. You don't know what the outcome might be. A solution finder is trying to find a specific solution to a problem.
He'll arrive at that particular solution.
That particular solution and stop. A problem solver can come up with, solve that problem and come up, create many other problems, or he might create many other solutions and so on and so on and so forth, right? So, for example, if you look at South Africa, I will not take more controversial cases. Of course, they are. Let's look at South Africa. South Africa, Nelson Mandela fought for their independence, and they got independence somewhere in the 1980s. 80s or 90s, late 80s or early 90s. And independence in the sense that they stopped being an apartheid nation and blacks got equal opportunity and so on and so forth. Today, South Africa is in a deep mess. Yeah, because there's a lawlessness, there is the economy is on the point of collapsing. A lot of industries have fled and so on and so forth, right? So did Nelson Mandela solve a problem? He solved it. He solved it by removing apartheid. Did he create other problems? In the material sense, the answer is yes. So did Gandhi solve a problem by agreeing to partition? Answer is yes. Were other problems created?
Of course.
The answer is yes.
No problem.
So that's the point. Yeah. So you can actually solve a problem and create fresh ones and keep going. Yeah. Solution finders are more, very narrow spaced. They find a solution to a specific. For example, why do the metro pillars look so ugly? What's the solution? You know the metro pillars?
Yeah.
They look very ugly. What will you do?
Bring up with some.
You can paint it. Okay. People, the problem why they look so dirty is because random fellows come and stick posters on them. So, solution. Penalize in India.
You stick your poster first so that no one else sticks.
That's not a solution.
So we can't hear you. I mean, I can't hear you.
With
Yeah.
plants and so on and so forth, so that people find it difficult to go there. So that's a solution finder. You are trying to find a solution to a specific problem, and then you are coming out with an array of solutions. Yeah. Yeah. So I hope you notice the difference. And then the modern missionary is you're trying to change the world. Where you're coming up with any examples of modern missionaries? Your experience, you can think of anybody. People who take up large social causes, who work for, say maybe like that Kailash Satyarthi. Have you heard of him? The Nobel Prize winner from India. Yeah, a few years back, he talks about missing boys and girls and how they are recovered. And India, a lot of people go missing, right? Young people, and they kidnapped or they just disappear and so on. So okay, so what forces us to change? That is an important question. Why do we have to change? And what are those levers, or what are those external pressures or pressure points that get us to change. One is more cultural diversity. So, for example, if he joins Ola, will he be forced to change? Yes, because now if he has to survive, he has to survive with all those pretty people who come. Yeah. So that is a cultural diversity. You have to have more, I say this carefully, open-mindedness, and then accept people who are different than you. Aging population, increased immigration and outsourcing. So all these are causing us to change. So, for example, if you look at Bengaluru, are all of us changing? Yes, because people are migrating to the city from. So, is the incumbent population also changing? Yes, we are changing, I think. Yeah. So we are also imbibing new ideas, new thoughts. I get introduced to Rajasthani food or Gujarati food because it's easily available now. You got restaurants and so on and so forth. Or, for example, Lebanese food. Technology. So faster, cheaper, more. I gave an example of how in the last 30 years, the biggest corporations in the world have sort of receded to the background, and you've got new kids on the block. You've got Alphabet, you've got Apple, you've got Tesla, you've got Meta, and so on and so forth. So technology, emergence and growth of social networking sites. Social networking sites, is it bringing about change?
Yes.
Yeah, so today people can talk about issues that we did not even hear about, and it spreads like wildfire. Yeah, and many people get to know about it. So you can actually create pressure points or pressure and pressurize people. Deciphering of the human genetic code and so on and so forth. Economic shocks, rise and fall of global housing market, financial sector collapse, global recession are all sort of change agents, and these can force you to change. Competition. So the global housing market, and I don't know how many of you are aware of the 2008 subprime crisis. You might actually note it down and do some research. What happened actually? 2008, the Treasury Secretary in the United States was a guy called Alan Greenspan. It's a very interesting case. Alan Greenspan and then the President George W. Bush Jr. Decided that every American should have a house. Is that a problem? So that's an interesting thing, right? Every American should have a. So tomorrow you can decide that if you become Chief Minister of Karnataka, you can say every citizen of Karnataka should have a house. How do you do this? Next question is, like they're asking the two present guys now in power, right? How are you going to give all these benefits? What's the action plan, man? You promised us, now make it happen, right? So George W. Bush and Alan Greenspan decided every American should have a house. And they went to the banks and told them that, look, give loans easily. So say somebody like you, say was doing an MBA program, but did not have a job. And if they went and applied for a loan, take a loan for say $400,000 or $500,000. Or if you really want some great place in New York, take $1 million. Do you have an income? No, I don't have an income right now. No problem, take the loan. So what do banks do now? And what banks kept lending out this money? Whose money is that? Investors. People like you had invested. And so banks had to de-risk themselves, and banks bundled these loans and sold it to other banks. And those other banks sold it to other banks. And those other banks sold it to other banks all over the world. So they've created a huge bubble of loans of giving Americans over subprime. That's why it's called a subprime crisis. That means these people are not really able to. Suppose you have got a salary of 30,000 rupees a month. Should I give you a 2 crore loan? Obviously, you can't pay, right? And that's the problem. So they created this, and this kept multiplying. This contagion kept multiplying. Many international, luckily in India, nobody bought these loans. But one day when people had to pay, so today, this lady has to pay back the 1 crore she has borrowed, but she has no money. So what does she do? So she defaults. She tells the bank, I don't have the money to pay you. Now, what does the bank do?
First 3 months, there won't be anything.
So bank immediately, they're not as friendly as you. The bank immediately goes to her house, full speed, and runs over there and takes charge of her house and says, till you can pay, leave. We are taking control of this. What does the bank do after that? They try to sell it. So now she's taken a loan for 1 crore and they want to sell this house. What do they expect? That it fetches 1 crore, but actually it is fetching only $300,000. So that gap of $700,000 started becoming and this happened house after house after house. And eventually the loans could not be reconciled. And it led to a global recession in 2008 called the subprime crisis. Maybe all of you were still in college or school or wherever. Yeah. I was not aware of this and I gave up my job right at that time. Yeah. And I mean, I was lucky. So, but the fact of the matter is a lot of people lost their jobs. It became very difficult. It forced people to change. So today, if you have to take a loan in America to buy a house, suppose you say that my house is $1.2 million and you go to a bank for a loan of say $700, the bank will send somebody to check whether it really is $1.2 million. Yeah. And unless that fellow signs off saying that it is $1.2 million, you are not going to get your 700,000. So because if you default, they want to make sure they get their money back and they're not sitting on a dead asset. It's very interesting how trying to find a solution, defining a problem and then trying some funny things led to other problems. And this two guys who probably conjured up this idea, George W. Bush and Alan Greenspan over a beer, led to a worldwide recession, which extended from 2008 to about 2000. So many banks collapsed. Many major banks collapsed because of this whole episode. Anyway, you should do some reading and check it out. Economic shocks, competition, global competitors, mergers and consolidations, increased government regulation and commerce. All these forces. So tomorrow, say, if Indian government, Narendra Modi signs a deal with the United States of America and says that I will allow farmers in the US to export their agricultural produce to India and we will not levy any duties on that. What do you think is going to happen?
Indian farmers,
Indian farmers will disappear.
No, they will start resistance.
Yeah, they will start resistance. A lot of bloodshed will be there. So India is actually not signing on the World Trade Organization dotted line. India and America, the major problem that we have is in the area of agricultural imports. India is not accepting American agricultural produce at the original cost. What's the logic India is giving? So America is saying don't levy 80% duties or 100% duties. Suppose when tomato has to come and it costs $50 in the US, it should cost $50 here as well. You cannot say 100% I will hike it up with duties. But what is India's logic in not signing? No, that is not logic. That's protectionism. What is India saying? What is India saying? Why we will not sign?
You're already put the sufficient.
You can't be a signatory to WTO and then say this. So WTO is meant to allow borders to open. You can't say I will shut myself off. You'll become like North Korea. So what India is saying is that you subsidize your farmers. You give them free water, free electricity, free land, free fertilizer. You stop giving all that and then let them compete with our farmers. Till that time, we won't allow you to export duty free into India. So actually, it's a very troublesome area between India and the United States because India is a large market, right? They want to let, and America is a food surplus country. They want to send their food to India. So think about it. Suppose something like that happens suddenly. Suppose India is now charging the Harley Davidson went away because we were having some 200% duty or something. Suppose India says no duty on Harley Davidson. You think all these motorbike fellows will survive? Yeah. So sudden changes can actually. So for example, if Harvard University comes to Bengaluru tomorrow, what is going to be the impact? So these are interesting questions to think about. How will it change? Social trends, increased environmental awareness, liberalization of attitudes towards gay, lesbian, transgender employees, which we were talking about, and your diversity, more multitasking and connectivity. Also things like, say, moonlighting, which you guys, any of you moonlight? Oh, okay. So moonlighting and so on and so forth. So some organizations have come with, you know what's moonlighting, right?
Yes. You only told us.
Holding two jobs at the same time. Yeah, I'm professor at Dayanand Sagar University. I can also be consultant for some other university, which is classic moonlighting and not allowed. And then you can have world politics, rising healthcare costs, yeah, negative social attitudes, rising healthcare costs. How many of you have health insurance? All of you. Very good. Okay. Negative social attitudes and towards business and executives. Negative social attitudes. For example, can you tell me areas in India? So, for example, West Bengal have negative attitudes towards business, and that's the reason why most businesses do not want to go to West Bengal. They would like to go to more friendly places where they are welcome to set up their business. So you can have negative social attitudes towards business and executives, and opening of new markets worldwide. So these are all the forces of change. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else that is forces you to change?
The boss changes automatically. We change
It's very small, micro. Boss might disappear.
Pandemic.
Things like the pandemic, yeah, health issues, and so on and so forth. So you can also have. I'll give you a reason when I talk about transformational change, sudden change which has to occur. Yeah. So why do organizations need to change? One is only for two reasons. One is there are opportunity gaps. They sense an opportunity and they want to go after that particular. So, for example, today most organizations are digitizing. Yeah, should they digitize? Answer is absolutely yes. You won't survive otherwise. If you don't have a digitization plan, it's not only about the banking fellows, even your other organizations, universities. If you don't digitize, you are. Are we in the digital space here? We are. I'm synchronously lecturing to people who are remotely located. Okay. So universities also have to innovate and digitize. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem because the world is changing around us. So you see an opportunity and then you go after that opportunity, right? For example, electric cars. Somebody saw an opportunity and went after that. So batteries for electric cars, order that mind. So from evolving shifts in customer preferences and demands, competitors offering labor and capital market constraints, public expectations, regulation, change in technology that threaten existing norms, etc., etc. From successful organizations assuming that their past record capability will sustain them indefinitely. So you can't assume that your past success is going to is going to guarantee your future success. And then you have performance gaps, that is ability to perform and produce superior products, capacity to foster individual learning and satisfaction, and ability to adapt. So two main reasons why your organizations look at change is opportunity or there's a gap in performance. Yeah. And both are difficult areas and both we should sort of address. Any questions around this? So why is it difficult? Change is intensely personal. Emotions are involved. And sometimes change is complicated. Yeah, you're changing so many things that you lose control, right? If it is not managed. That's why I said that many leaders fail because they can't manage change. Yeah. So fundamentally also human beings resist change because we find that we are emotionally attached to something and we feel and we fear failure. Yeah. Right. So how do you implement change? And you have scope, origin, rollout, and time. Scope is, how large should your change be? Suppose I want to change my organization. So like I said, suppose you want to bring in digitization. Do you want to bring in wholesale digitization to your entire organization, or you want to take a small part and bring about, test the waters first? You want to do a pilot on a small part and see what the, so scope and rollout is the size and scale and how much you want to do on what, right? So these are two very important things, the scope and the rollout part of it. Origin is where do you want to start really in your organization in terms of change making, and timing is what length of time do you see this change? Do you see it across 1 day, 10 days, 6 months, 1 year, 10 years? So we have a transformational plan, the university, and when I made my transformational plan, it extended from 6 months to 10 years. Yeah, I may not be here for 10 years later, but I have put across a transformation plan. 10 years later, where do we see this? No. My School of Commerce and Management Studies. Yeah, my school. So where I'm the dean. So that's the timing part. So very interesting. How much, to what extent, at what speed are some of the questions that you are trying to answer here? And what is the risk that you are willing to take? Are you willing to take it on your entire organization, or do you want to take it onto a small bit, like I said, an ambient express organization, and then try to sort of nail that and see what the impact actually is. So a scope can be incremental or radical. That is, you can make small changes, or you can make overnight change. So can you give me an example of a radical change? Demonetization. Radical change. Yeah, that is from tomorrow onwards, all this stuff is not going to be there, right? You got several examples also. Radical change is very difficult to manage because it can hit you from nowhere. You don't know actually what is happening. So for example, when 9/11 happened and those two twin towers in New York were hit by terrorists, they made an announcement. Actually, Osama bin Laden made an announcement saying that the next attack on the US will be by sea. So he said, we will hit American seaports by ships. So the Americans really went to town about it. They passed through a resolution in the United Nations, IMO, and it's called the Ship and Port Security Code. The parameters or paradigm for ship security changed overnight. And a lot of expenditure was involved. And they said, if you don't comply, you cannot come to American ports. The result was that many organizations could not afford it, and they actually collapsed. So that is the problem with radical change. Yeah. So which is a good example. Also, another example from the shipping industries, there was a massive oil pollution, and some of you might have that case of the Exxon Valdez. Yeah. and then the Gulf of Mexico. So they said that they changed ship construction parameters suddenly. And they said that, say, next 3 years, you must all have different kinds of structures in ships to deal with oil pollution, because of which many companies again folded up. So that is a radical change. Incremental change is small change. Origin is you can be top down or bottom. Where does your change occur? Does it occur at the top or it occurs at the, where does change occur in the bottom? Most of your change occurs at the top, right? The bosses will sit down, they will sit over they'll go to the Leela Palace, have dinner, drink some beer or have whiskey, and then say, we will fire 500 people. And you and people like us at the bottom will get
You consider yourself at the bottom.
will get affected. Yeah. So that is a top-down approach. When does let me see how smart you guys are. When does a bottom-up approach? In what situations?
And workers
So like
of factory
strikes and-
go on strike.
Good. A bigger scale, fundamentally in revolutions. If you take the French Revolution, all these are bottom-up change, or the American Revolution. They occur at the grassroots level, and then they grow, and then they engulf the entire place, and they change the paradigm totally. So France became a republic after 1789. Yeah, and you had the French Revolution. So these are interesting parts. This you have seen. So if you look at origin and scope, when the scope is incremental and the origin is bottom up, you have evolutionary change. What is it about evolutionary change? Evolutionary change
Evolves over time.
is glacially slow, very slow. So, for example, maybe 1 million years ago, we were all monkeys or apes, and slowly we have evolved to wherever now, however you be, yeah, sitting here and listening to me. So there has been a very slow evolutionary process as against transformational change, which is radical and which is top down. Like what the Americans did. They went to the UN and brought about change. Or you can have revolutionary change, that is radical and bottom up. Okay, I told you, like the French Revolution and so on and so forth. Or you can have top down and incremental change, that is tactical change. Small changes that we will make slowly. We'll bring you up to speed. So mostly in your organizations, you will see tactical changes, yeah, which is top down and which are slow. Step by step. They don't want to shock you into something. But please understand, other things can also happen. Other things are very painful, particularly revolutionary change and transformational change. You can actually be caught by surprise. Yeah. So for example, another example of transformational change is that after 1857, yeah, what happened after 1857? 1857, what happened? The problem with many of you is you have no idea about history.
First Indian independence.
Yeah, Indian War of Independence. Yeah, where the mutiny was crushed by the British, and the last Mughal king Bahadur Shah Zafar, poor chap, he was exiled. Many of his children were killed, all his sons were killed, and he was exiled to Burma. Yeah, and he went away with his wife, and he was mostly reading poetry. But so poor chap, he was sent away. The Mughal court, the court language was Persian, and there were hundreds of people who would, scribes, writers, so on and so forth, who would, the main job was to translate, write, and so on. The British said from tomorrow it is English. Yeah. So what happened to all these people? They were jobless. In one day, Friday morning, they all had jobs, well-paying jobs. Saturday morning, they had no job at all, because the change that occurred was transformational, top down. The British decided, and it was radical. Yeah, so you can actually be caught by, and that is why it is good for people like you to have a broad range of skills. Because if there is transformational change, I can go and do something else. And today it is very important. Yeah, so rollout can be localized or it can be system wide. Most organizations try to localize it initially because the risks can be very large and timing can be slow or fast. I mean, I want change to happen within the next 3 months or 3 days, or I'm willing to wait for 10 years for the change to. So the quarters change model is something that you guys must know. Please write it down and go and investigate it. So how do you create? This is a 8-step model. Quarters 8-step model is very popular. It is used by most people. Most your HR fellows will talk about quarters 8-step model. He may not talk about the other one earlier, which I showed, or scope, origin, so on. Yeah. So increase urgency. How do you increase urgency?
Create the sense of urgency in the.
You create a sense of urgency, saying that the ship is sinking, and we may actually go out of business if we don't change. And you spread these small stories to people, and create that. Build the guiding team. Of course, you build a change management team. Get the right vision and which is communicated. Communicate to people. Communication in change management strategy is very important. How do you communicate the story for change? Why do I want to change? Empower action. Who are the people who are empowered to act in this regard? Create short-term wins whenever people change. Don't let up and make it stick. So for example, if people don't want to, suppose you have launched, I launched a change management strategy. And this guy comes and says, your ideas are all PS, I don't agree with you. What should I do?
Make him understand why the change is.
So most organizations will kick him out. Yeah. So once they've decided that I'm going to change, and they try to create a buy-in, and they've got a critical mass of people, and you are the sole fellow standing like a hero saying that I will not change, they will show you the door. Yeah. So please understand that how serious is the change initiative and how many people have bought into it and who is pushing the change are very critical for you to see. Yeah, before you become a heroic figure and try to, like Rani of Jhansi, try to oppose the
Rule made by British.
the change.
Right.
Yeah. So the quarters change model is fairly simplistic. Very nice on paper, all these things. Implementing change is extremely difficult. The reason, again, I keep repeating is because humans and human emotions are involved, and it is going to test your character and it's going to test your strength of will. So, for example, I have to kick 5 people out because they are resisting change. Am I going to do it? Or I say no, it's going to be bad karma. I don't know. Next time I'll be born as a dog or something, so I won't do it. So if you have strange ideas like that, yeah. So what is your strength of will or character, and really are you serious of implementing change? How ruthless are you? So creating buy-in and acceptance for change, you create awareness, you create self-concern. People should feel there is something for them. So if I tell people you better change, otherwise the ship is going to sink, do you think they agree with me? Answer is yes. Why? Because they will sink with the ship otherwise. Yeah. So there is a self-interest. So if you tell people if you change, I'll give you a better salary. You think that will get them to change? Chances are better. But if you tell them no, if you change, you will lose salary, you think they will change? Unlikely. So self-concern, do people get the idea? The mental tryout part of it, hands-on, acceptance, and then can you champion the cause? So you must today, all of you, if you are to be in an organization, you must champion something. I'm championing diversity. I'm championing dog welfare. You can go and tell your organization that I want to champion the cause of dogs in Bengaluru. I think, or I am going to champion what? I'm going to champion the metro construction pillars. That is my big initiative going forward. I want to make sure all metro pillars are clean and sparkling, and Bengaluru is a beautiful city. So you must have some cause, and you must be an influencer, and you must champion it and talk about it. So for example, I champion food. If you look at my LinkedIn, I write about two things: leadership and food. Yeah, that's what I try to, that's what I champion. So you must have something to champion about if you want to bring about change. Yeah. You can read this yourself. So what are the leadership skills needed during the stages for buy-in? It's very important. Yeah. When you get this PPT, if you don't get it, please write to me. I will send it to you. But this is a very important slide. Please read what leadership is connected with change management and how those two tie into together. So unfortunately, why do change initiatives fail? Because people look at it like this, as a straight line. What actually happens is like this. Yeah, there is a big effort result gap here. Why? Because there is resistance to change. You can see this, yeah, it's actually dipping very much here, and then you lose heart. So I said you must be tough and you must be ruthless, and you must say, I want to drive this through, whatever happens. So you can have an 8th step to transforming your organization. This chap was supposed to come. So what? So okay, we talked about. So we talked about two things. We've talked about organization change and organization culture. Why does conflict in organizations occur?
Difference of opinions.
Okay. So what kind of conflicts are there? It can be official, it can be unofficial. Okay. What is unofficial conflict? You just didn't like the kind of shirt that fellow was wearing.
Maybe there are some sorts of differences which they bring in
Behavioral.
Like he follows Congress or political activity. Yeah. Okay.
Behavioral difference.
Behavioral differences. Yeah. Or yeah, behavioral differences. Like what? What behavioral differences?
The way I approach might be different than what he approaches to work or anything.
Or somebody might think that you're very pushy or bossy or impolite and so on and so forth. I think that so. For example, cultural differences. My wife refuses to fly Lufthansa. I was, of course, towards the end of my career, captain of a German ship. I understand them very well. I spent a lot of time with Germans, but in Frankfurt airport, some German fellow was calling her like that. So she's very upset. She said, "How dare that fellow call me? I'm a paying customer. I'm flying, and he calls me like that." For a German, that means efficiency. Come here quickly. Yeah, he's not being rude or disrespectful. He's saying this is efficient. Come. But we think it is disrespectful and so on and so forth. Yeah. So you can have these about So I have a couple of videos to clarify what I've been talking about in the last 2.5 hours. So this is a great. I wanted to watch this and tell me what you think about this one. And basically, it's about Apollo, the famous Apollo 13.
Microsoft just announced the death of every office worker. Yes, it's
Ideas, differences. What kind of conflict do you think this is? Good, bad? So obviously an extreme situation. Is this good or dysfunctional or functional?
The outcome is bad or else it's a-
No, but I'm talking about the negotiation, the conflict. So the point is that you can have different kinds of conflict in the workplace. You can have functional conflict. This is functional conflict, where people are talking about work and processes and procedures. Yeah, what are they not talking about? They're not talking about interpersonal issues. Individual personalities are not coming into the pictures. Conflict actually gets really nasty when you bring in personal egos, personal issues, and it becomes a personal, a game that I'm not going to allow something because I don't like the person. And eventually they bring those 3 astronauts home, which was a miracle actually, because they all had, and if you watch the movie, they all have serious differences as you keep going ahead, but there is nothing personal about it. It's about the work and the work processes and procedures. So please understand that if you have a difference of opinion on how a job is to be done, it's good in many senses because you're getting different thought processes and so on and so forth. As long as you don't bring in personal issues and make it interpersonal, and then it starts becoming dysfunctional. So the idea is great, but I'm not going to follow it because I don't like that person. As long as that doesn't happen, it's fine. Okay, I'm going to stop this. Yeah, this one, change one. Next. So why change management? It's a very interesting scene again on.
ನಾನು ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದ ಸಾರಿ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ.
I'm thrilled that everyone's back under one roof. Welcome home, boys. I know there's been a lot of whispering about why we're here, so let me jump right in. Retailers are down 20%. Auto industry is in the dump. Housing market doesn't have a heartbeat. It is one of the worst times on record for America. This is our moment. Now, last summer, we received a dynamite young woman here from Cornell, and she had some pretty big ideas that she challenged me with, and my first reaction was, who does this kid think that she is? But after I gave it a listen, she really knocked me out. So with a peek into our future, Natalie Keener.
If there's one word I want to leave you with today, it's this.
Glocal.
Global. Our global must become local. This company keeps 23 people on the road at least 250 days a year. It's expensive and it's inefficient. When I came to Craig 3 months ago with this, he told me, and quite astutely, it's only a problem if you have a solution. Well, today I stand before you with just that. You all know Ned in reception. Today I'm gonna fire Ned. Sorry, Ned. I'm sure HR will hire you back this afternoon.
We'll see about that.
Now, Ned could be any employee in any one of our clients' locations worldwide. Strategy packets would be shipped in advance. Ned would be given a seat and find one of our transition specialists waiting for him. Mr. Laskin, the reason we're having this conversation is your position is no longer available.
I don't understand. I'm fired?
Hearing the words you've been let go is never easy. Change is always scary. But consider the following. Anybody who ever built an empire or changed the world sat where you are now. And it's because they sat there that they were able to do it.
My fucking line.
Well, what happens now?
This is the first step of a process that will end with you in a new job that fulfills you.
Yeah, but how does it work?
I want you to take the packet in front of you. Review it. All the answers you're looking for are inside. Start filling out the necessary information, and before you know it, you'll be on your way to new opportunities. Now, Ned, I need you to go back to your desk and start putting together your things. As a favor to me, I'd appreciate it if you didn't spread the news just yet. Panic doesn't help anyone.
I understand.
Give it up for Ned. You can start the morning in Boston, stop in Dallas over lunch, and finish the day in San Francisco. All for the price of a T1 line. Our inflated travel budget is eviscerated by 85%. And more importantly, to you guys on the road, no more Christmases in a hotel in Tulsa, no more hours lost to weather delays. You get to come home.
Tell me you're not taking this seriously.
That's why we brought the entire company in from the road, because we're not taking this seriously.
There is a methodology to what I do. There's a reason why it works.
Coke and IBM have been doing this for years, all right? You familiar with them? And just like anything else, you know, it's going to take a few months of sort of transition, and then everybody's going to settle in.
Who are you taking off the road?
How are you not getting this? You're grounded. Everybody's grounded. It's done.
What we do here is brutal, and it does leave people devastated, but there is a dignity to the way I do it.
It's like stabbing them in the chest instead of the back. Is that right?
You wanted to see me?
Well,
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, come on in. Come on in here.
great job out there, man.
Thank you. How's everyone taking it?
Great. Listen, I admire your zeal, and I think you have some very good ideas, but you know nothing about the realities of my industry. You can set up an iChat, but you don't know how people think.
Actually, I minored in psychology.
Nice.
Okay, kiddo, fire me.
Ryan.
Now, listen, she's gonna be doing this on a regular basis. Don't you want to know if she can fire somebody?
She just fired Ned.
My dog can fire Ned. Fire me.
You don't need to do this.
No, it's okay. I got this. Mr. Bingham, I regret to inform you that your position at this company is no longer available.
Who the hell are you?
My name is Miss Keener. I'm here today to discuss your future.
My future? The only one who could fire me is Craig Gregory.
Mr. Gregory hired me to handle this for him.
Handle what? Handle me? Mr. Gregory hired me. He's the only one who could fire me. You know what? I'm gonna go talk to him.
Mr. Bingham.
No, you can't follow me. You're on a computer screen, remember?
Ryan.
All right, let's try this again. Fire me again.
I just did.
Actually, you didn't. Fire me.
That's enough. I think we get it.
Mr. Bingham, I'm here today to inform you that your position is no longer available.
I'm fired.
Yes, you're fired.
Never say fired.
You've been let go.
Why?
This is a mythical situation. How could I possibly know why?
Why doesn't matter. You never know why.
It's important not to focus on the why and rather to spend your energy thinking about your future.
Well, I'm going to spend my energy on suing you unless you give me a good reason why you're firing me.
Mr. Bingham, the reason's not important.
So you're firing me without grounds. Now I really have a lawsuit.
I get what you're trying to say, Ryan.
Don't take this personally, Mr. Bingham.
Personally, this is the most personal situation that you are ever going to enter. So before you try to revolutionize my business, I'd like to know that you actually know my business.
So that was how do people handle change actually? People are going to push back, like that guy did, of course, the little unequal battle. But any change initiative has serious pushback. And how are you going to manage that is very, very important. Any questions? Guys online, any questions? Nobody has any. Anything at all about the about the assignment 2, other assignments, exams.
Assignment 2. I mean, I know that we should be aware of both the case studies and we should be prepared for everything. But what I said, like we should have a plan in place, a flow among ourselves, right?
So on the appointed day and time, all of you will turn up. I will choose which case study you are supposed to present first.
Okay. But that will be presented by one of it. You will also choose the person, right? Because all of us cannot speak at once.
So you can speak serially.
Serial, okay.
Yeah,
Which,
I expect all of you to know both the cases fully.
yeah.
I'm not going to say that you present fully, unless I feel that the guy is an interloper, he's not been there, you have just, so that also I can guess, you know. So sometimes I ask people that you present and they have actually neither contributed nor been there, they just turned up for the presentation. I suggest that you don't do that, because if somebody gets say 3 marks out of 30, all of you will get 3 marks out of 30. So how do you manage your group is very important. So if somebody has not contributed and turns up that day and does really badly, and so it will go with the least common denominator.
Can we push back this decision?
Can you?
Can we push back on this decision?
My decision? No. Because that's how it operates. I expect everybody to have participated. If you have not participated, don't turn up.
Sir, any tips you want to give us for the exam?
Read the textbook. Hosea,
Yes,
don't worry,
sir.
you attended all the classes. Look at the PPTs and generally stay cognizant of what has happened, and I'm sure you'll do well.
Thank you, sir.
You've done assignment 1 very well. Do assignment 2 very well. You're almost you'll have some 56, 57 marks out of 60. All you need is another 50% of your thing to get a 80 plus, maybe an A grade.
Yes, sir.
The idea is to enjoy the program. Yeah. Any other questions? I hope all of you are ready. Monday, who are the 2 groups presenting? 7 and? So please be the 7 o'clock, right? And please come. This is a master's program, so come properly prepared. Don't make it some 5th standard presentation and annoy me, please. It's after a tough day at work, I go home and then try to log in. Yeah. So come properly prepared. And properly dressed. And don't try to log in through your phone. No, I'm actually at Kalasi Palya. I just stopped my motorbike now to attend this. I'm not interested in stories like that. Yeah. So sit properly at a proper place, open your laptop and log in. Use the proper internet facilities. Figure out all these things out. Do a reconnaissance, a recce. Check your system. There's a guy who came the other day, who for an interview, very senior fellow. And at the appointed time, he couldn't switch on his camera. You think our people would have selected him?
No.
Opportunity gone. It's always good to practice a little bit before, check out your system, see that everything is fine.
So I hope G20 is going to be held in Kashmir this time. I hope and I pray network will survive in Kashmir during that period.
It'll be there. Why won't I mean, they also need network, right?
Yeah. There's an uncertainty about the net.
Yeah. I mean, that I understand.
I hope and I pray everything goes well so that I can.
Hosea, you can't fly down quickly to Bangalore, finish and go back.
No, I am coming on 28th. Actually, the presentation date is one day before I come there.
Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? Okay, good then. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Guys online, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you so very much, sir, for everything that you do.